shit!
Run.
That's right, folks. Run. And we are back with another problem with that. And today's problem with that is going to be anti-drug programs. You ever notice how almost every kid in America has sat through an anti-drug program in school? Police officer comes in, there's a slideshow, maybe a video from the 90s where everybody looks terrified of marijuana. And the message is always the same. Drugs are bad. Just say no. Now listen, on the surface that sounds reasonable. Nobody wants kids using drugs. Nobody wants addiction, overdose, or lives destroyed. But the problem with anti-drug programs is that many of them don't actually work the way people think they do. For decades, schools relied on programs like DARE, Drug Abuse Resistance Education. It was everywhere in the 80s and 90s. Millions of kids went through it. They got the shirts, the graduation certificates, the whole thing. But study after study has shown something uncomfortable. The program had little to no long-term impact, or whether kids actually use drugs later in life. Some cases, researchers even suggested that certain programs actually made drugs seem more interesting because they spent so much time talking about them. And that's where the real problem starts. A lot of anti-drug programs rely on fear. They show extreme cases. They exaggerate consequences. They tell kids that one bad decision will instantly destroy their life. The kids are smarter than we give them credit for. When a teenager hears that smoking marijuana once will ruin their future, and then they see people around them who tried it and nothing catastrophic happened, what happens? They stop trusting the message. And when the credibility of the message falls apart, the entire warning system collapses with it. Because if adults exaggerated about one drug, kids start wondering what else they exaggerated about. Another problem is that many programs treat all drugs exactly the same. Heroin, prescription opioids, marijuana, alcohol. Everything gets thrown into the same bucket. But reality isn't that simple. Different substances carry different risks, different addiction levels, and different social impacts. When programs pretend there's no difference, it makes the message sound unrealistic. And unrealistic messages are easy for teens to dismiss. But maybe the bigger issue is that anti-drug programs often ignore why people turn to drugs in the first place. Stress, depression, trauma, isolation, hopelessness. Those are the real gateways. You can lecture kids all day about substances, but if you never talk about mental health, coping skills, and real life pressure, you're only addressing the symptom, not the cause. And then there's another uncomfortable truth. Many anti-drug campaigns were built during the height of the war on drugs, when the focus wasn't always education, it was punishment and fear. Instead of teaching young people how addiction actually works, how substances affect the brain, or how to recognize when someone needs help, system focuses on telling them, don't do it, or else. But addiction doesn't care about slogans. Addiction doesn't care about posters in the hallway. Addiction is a medical, physiological, and social problem that requires honest education and real support systems. Now, don't get me wrong, education absolutely matters. Kids should learn about drugs. They should understand addiction. They should know the risks. But if the program is built on outdated scare tactics and oversimplifying messaging, it can do more harm than good. Because once young people stop believing the messenger, they stop listening to the warning. And when that happens, the program's designed to protect them becomes nothing more than a ritual everyone sits through, but nobody actually believes. And the problem with that is, When we replace honest education with slogans and fear campaigns, we don't prevent drug use.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
Run.